on this week's episode of Gravy Movies.
Yeah,
I think
I
both.
agree.
I think both Longest Yard should be on the list. I don't
Both.
know.
No,
I was
doubt.
gonna.
No.
Wow. Okay.
Well, the modern one for sure. That's
What
like
do you-
one of my. That's like my favorite football movie ever.
What do you think, Mike?
So I remember when you texted me like a week ago. You said if you watch the original, you have to watch the Adam Sandler version too. I did not. I just watched the original. I did not watch the Sandler one.
You've never seen the
Because
Sandler one?
I've seen it like a really long time ago, and like again, I feel like I've seen like The Longest Yard and The Waterboy in pieces because my cousin was also obsessed with these movies.
Yeah.
And so I was around them. As Dom knows, I'm not a big Adam Sandler guy. I'm just not. Particularly like his 2000s, 90s, whatever comedies.
Mike
So-
hasn't seen a lot of like the most popular.
Yeah, no, I haven't. That's fair.
comedies from.
Yeah,
when we
I just
were
don't
growing
really
up.
have an interest.
Gotcha.
Like he's never seen
But-
Superbad.
Yeah, I know.
Wow, that's like
Just-
arguably my favorite movie ever.
Just to like put it in perspective. Yeah. he
Yeah,
hasn't-
yeah. Really throw me under the bus there. But that being said, I chose not like I had limited time here, and I didn't watch the Sandler version of The Longest Yard because I figured I could somewhat base my opinion on it based off of the original Longest Yard because my thought process was like, well, I saw that Dom, you rate the original a half-star higher on Letterboxd. So that informed my opinion a little bit. And I also said, like, look, if Dom likes the original more than me, not being the big Adam Sandler fan, I'm really not going to like his version more. So that's why I did not watch it.
After rewatching the original, I realized that the remake is like beat for beat the same movie. Like structurally, every scene is the same. It's just the jokes are updated for today. Even some of the jokes are the same, but they're just
Like
slightly...
he broke his fucking nose. That's the same, right?
that's
That's an iconic joke from that movie.
yeah,
They
that's
just
the
keep repeating
same.
it.
The cheerleaders, they make them like a bigger joke in the Adam Sandler
Hilarious.
version. But that's like Tracy Morgan and stuff, and they're just eating
Yeah.
it up.
Mm.
Instead of like him just like beating his wife in the beginning, then going drunk driving, he's at a party, he leaves, like his wife's throwing a party. So there's just like little updates on it. I like the original because I think the drama works a little better. It's like a really interesting balance of like social issues and like a prison movie, and then you get like the comedy in the football movie. I think the original's a little better at that, but I kind of like when certain movies are just straight up remade, like they didn't change too much about it. They kind of updated it for today, but they didn't remake the whole movie. They didn't take it apart. And I think this is actually one of the effective examples of that. There's not a ton, but when it works, it works. And I think both Longest Yards are good football movies. And
I
grew
love
up,
this movie.
I grew up with the Adam Sandler one. Like I've seen this movie so many times.
Same.
And it's just kind of like nostalgic for me. Like it even
Yeah.
ends the same way, Zbot, with like he thinks he's leaving, so he's gonna shoot him with a gun. Yeah, he thinks he's gonna shoot. It ends the same way. Yeah. And I love the ending.
It's the
ending's
game
great.
ball. It's the
Yeah.
game ball.
Yeah.
That movie's got everything. It's hilarious. It's as far as like the idea itself is concerned when incorporating, and that's back to the point we've been making throughout this, where all these movies have some sort of terrible cliche in them that's tough to look past. This one doesn't. This is completely different, in my opinion. I think it blends together the perfect mix of the inequality of the inmates and the guards, in addition to the inequality between what Paul Crew was before he was an inmate and then the inmates themselves. And now that doesn't matter when you're in prison. You're a prisoner, and you're the same as the guy in the next cell, right? And then they all form that bond, and the guys who don't even want to play wind up playing just because of their disdain for the guards, the Mean Machine is you want to talk about names? That's the coolest name.
It is the
ever.
best fake football team ever.
Yes, the jerseys are badass. Burt Reynolds as like the pseudo coach / quarterback that's amazing.
Yeah,
and like at the same time when it's serious when it wants to be and it's hilarious when it wants to be, it's also like out of nowhere super like depressing and serious when Chris Rock just gets murdered. It takes the biggest right turn. You don't see that coming. And they do it in a way that's really jarring, like they don't really hold back in the modern one, like showing him, die and how that kind of inspires them.
They show it in the original too. He's fully on fire.
Yeah. But it's crazy because the same movie that has that also has Adam Sandler doing underwear modeling for the secretary and has Tracy Morgan as a cheerleader. Like Cheeseburger Eddie, iconic ancillary character, hilarious. When they're when they're doing drills and I forget who it is, who the big fat guy running around, he's like, get a corn and I'll be fine. And he's just laying down, just heavy breathing. And I think the fact that when most movies end in a way they're kind of like building up to end where they're predictable, I like how in this one, it's easy to assume that Adam Sandler is going to take the easy way and doesn't in respect for all those who are there with him. And I think that the inspiration from this movie doesn't necessarily come from the football itself, but it comes from, doing the right thing. And then also like you even have the main guard there kind of coming around too, to realizing Adam Sandler, he's a good guy. And the warden's actually the bad guy in all this. I think it's got the perfect blend and it uses football to encapsulate all that, which is awesome. Because I think a lot of these other ones, football is the main premise where you're supposed to feel that, like you're supposed to get that lesson or that emotion, where in this one, I think you get all of it and then it incorporates the football. And then on top of that, also, it's just the little things. Like if you're a football fan, Chris Berman's calling the game on ESPN. Like that is incredible that they incorporate stuff like that into this, which I think is awesome. And they give him like a few really hilarious cameos where he's with that one prisoner doing the calls with him. And you can tell Chris Berman's just terrified of the guy.
Yeah.
Love this movie. And it's one of those movies, like you said, Dom, like if it's on, you just leave it on. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter how many times you've seen it. It's got so many, you can pick that movie up at any time throughout the movie. And, you can ride along with it till the end and it, you never get sick of it.
No, it's if you're flipping through the channels and you find this, you're keeping it on for sure. I think both deserve it. Z-Bot, you got to watch the original. Let's put them both on for now, and then we got to eliminate some stuff eventually.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm like scared of the original because of how much I like the newer one.
They are like the same movie, Z-Bot. Really, I think you'll honestly like them both more after seeing the first one.
That's cool. I like that.
The Waterboy.
Yeah, I'm glad we're going right into it.
I don't need the Waterboy. I never really had a personal relationship with the Waterboy like I had with all those other movies when I was growing up. But It sounds like you like to see that.
It's hilarious. It's and I said this to you before we started. I find it truly hilarious that a genre that tries to take itself way too seriously and a genre that tries to be super dramatic and overplay the main premise of the movie, that the genre is, in my opinion, led by Adam Sandler. I think that is the best part of all of this, is that in this genre, if it were up to me, the top movies would include Adam Sandler, and that would be Longest Yard and The Waterboy. I think The Waterboy is hilarious because it takes Rudy almost, but puts it in a way that is perfect for Adam Sandler, where you take that premise of a guy who does not belong out on this field, right? A guy who, he's around the sport, but has no business being out there. But except they do it in a way where they make it not where Rudy, he earns his stripes and gets out on the field. They make it where Waterboy happens to be the second coming of Lawrence Taylor. And I think that is just hysterical. And there's no, like, as far as sports movies are concerned, and then as far as comedies are concerned, there's fewer better scenes than when Coach comes over for dinner with Mama. I mean, it's just like unbelievable. You can barely even digest what you're watching. the fact that what do they serve, an alligator or whatever
Yeah,
at the and the fact that everybody's like, Waterboy, it's Coach, it's Mama, and it's all that. And then of course he's got like the hottest girl of all time is just in love with Waterboy on top of all of it. You love it. I think, and this is probably just the bias of Adam Sandler, but you love it just because of the Adam Sandler vibe to it. It is literally if you took Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore and then combined those two characters, dumbed them down even more, and then threw football pads on top of it, it's kind of what you get. So I think with this movie, and this is probably where Mike, I'm assuming, doesn't like it, it's either you love Adam Sandler and ergo you love this movie, or the complete opposite. That's probably how it goes.
He probably hasn't.
Yeah. I should say I can't say I don't like it. I've seen enough of it. I would say like a very long time ago. The thing with me is I just have like literally very slim to no interest in watching it. But had I rewatched it, if I had more time, I would have and could give a fair opinion of it. But hearing you speak so highly of it, and I know. We did a poll asking people to submit their favorite football movies of all time. It definitely got some people who gave this answer. So I think we can certainly put it on the list for consideration. I actually think maybe more people answered this than they did The Longest Yard when it comes to comparing Sandler films.
I think it's because it's an opportunity to watch a movie where you don't have to take yourself so seriously over football. It's a movie where you can just enjoy the premise of football being involved in the movie, and then you can have a good time watching it. I feel like with the other ones, you gotta it's almost like the big name dramatic football movies. They're almost like soap operas for sports fans. It's almost like it's what they're kind of like made to be. And the beauty of this one is like it's just meant to be fun. And I think that's what's enjoyable about it. I think that's why a lot of people like it. Also, when you think about the comedy element of a football movie, I can't even think of another one, or at least one that would even come close to this. And I think that's probably why it's up there on a lot of people's lists, because if you like football and you like, funny movies, it's pretty much your only and best option.
Well, you're right. It's a lot more Rudy than I didn't revisit it, but it's a lot more Rudy than I think I realized when I first watched it when I was younger. Like it's basically spoofing Rudy.
Right. Which in itself, like as we were talking about earlier, or I think you were alluding to it, I think that is a genius idea, because the premise of Rudy itself is ridiculous. It's kind of like taking the premise of Rudy and then the premise of the Wahlberg one there and just showing you for what it is. Like, this is absurd. And so because of that, we're going to show you how absurd it is, and we're going to make it exactly that.
No, fair enough.
Available most places you can find podcasts.